Okay, I admit it, I was kind of wrong about Assassin's Creed Mirage. If you're new here, you probably didn't watch the previous Assassin's Creed Mirage video I made about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, where we reacted to the gameplay trailer, and I wasn't particularly impressed. It looked fine, it definitely looked like it was going back to roots, but I needed to see more. I think we all needed to see more. Let me know if you were sold on Mirage with the trailer a couple weeks back, but I personally wasn't, and I'm sure some of you weren't as well. So when we got a full presentation, well, it was pretty much a presentation for Assassin's Creed, including Assassin's Creed Mirage, as well as the mobile game, as well as some weird VR game that they didn't actually show gameplay of, because that is not what it's going to look like. I had my expectations. When they started walking people, I was like, okay, maybe they are really confident. And from this presentation, yeah, it makes sense. So we're going to talk about a few different bits. This video will be short, so I can spare you time so you can go eat or something. But I'm going to quickly summarize my thoughts as to what I saw with this demo, and honestly, critique some of it already. Because I'm the critiquer. I hate games, apparently. I've had a few comments about that, which, to be honest, I probably do. I probably do hate games in a minute. Anyway, let's get the stuff out of the way. So first off, the parkour. Yes, okay, I've seen a few comments already. The parkour does not look as good as Unity. It doesn't really look as good as the previous Assassin's Creed games from like the Kenway saga and all that. But for what it is, after all, this was a DLC for Valhalla, and then they turned it into its own game. For what it is, I think it looks really good. I understand some people have problems with it. Apparently some people thought it looked a bit too slow, it looked a bit too weighty, and for that to be said, I've just got to disagree. The one thing I wanted from Assassin's Creed games, and that's back from like 2009, was more weight to it. Even the Kenway saga struggled with this. You always felt like you're a bit floaty. But with Mirage, it really does look less floaty and more weighty, and yes, that does make it look a bit slower, but it also makes it look a bit more realistic. Now, do I wish they did a completely different engine for Mirage? After all, this is a back to roots game. Of course I do. But the reality is this was a DLC. We all knew that from the very beginning. So to expect that is a bit ludicrous. And I admit I did expect it sort of when it first got announced, but hey, it is what it is. It's far from perfect, as I've been saying. There are a few things that I kind of wish was changed, like animations. There are certain animations that are clearly from Valhalla. They didn't really do much with it except speed the animation up. But from what we saw, I think it looks really fluid. If you go back and look at the old Assassin's Creed games, like that's pretty much like half my channel at this point. Go back and watch my reviews, check out the gameplay. You'll notice all these little different things that are not quite as fluid, not as good looking as the Valhalla stuff. And I know before someone jumps up here, what do you mean Valhalla? The parkour sucked. I agree, the parkour sucked. But the animations, the baseline, you know, the foundation of those animations could be built on. And that looks like that looks like what they've done with Mirage, okay? Is it as good as I want it to be? No. Of course not. It's never going to be. This is Ubisoft. But for what we got, it looks really good. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you wish you went back to like Unity parkour like they were saying? Or are you kind of happy with what we're getting here? Secondly, the stealth. They have been saying that this game is a stealth game. Basim is a stealth character. And that, from what we've seen, that is very true. For good and for bad. Because I've got something to talk about that combat system in a minute. But the stealth, for what it is, it does look like Ubisoft stuff. It does look very bare bones, after all. It always is with Assassin's Creed games. But what we've got here looks like a good step forward for stealth in general. Assassin's Creed never had good stealth. You can never convince me it did, okay? It never did. The AI was never good enough. The mechanics you had were never varied enough. They tried to fix that with Origins, with bows, you know, different like weird like grenades and stuff like that, especially in the Kenway saga. It never really added enough depth to it. But from what we can see here, they're bringing some more ranged weapons in, stealth weapons like poison darts and stuff like that, sleep darts and stuff like that. Does it make sense for the time period? Not really. I mean, maybe they did. I'm not quite an expert on this stuff, but you know, it seemed a bit out of place to me. But the point is, it's good for gameplay, and it looks like they've really added a few different tools that you can use other than running in and assassinating people. Speaking of assassinating people, the assassinations look really good. Like, the animations look really good. I really like the animations, especially the air assassination. Air assassinations always sucked in the Kenway saga. It was too buggy, it looked wrong, but here it looks like there's some proper weight to it when you land on someone. And the blood, did you guys notice the blood? Like, it looks really good. Like, that sounds like a serial killer thing to say, but it does look really good. But there is a big issue, and I've seen a lot of people talk about it. You probably already know what I'm going to mention, so I'll just get it out of the way. The teleportation. The teleportation is a terrible move, okay? It does not belong in this game. This is a back-to-roots Assassin's Creed game without all the god stuff, and I understand there's some sort of lore reason behind it with the Animus, and that Basim is like some major character in Valhalla. I never beat Valhalla. I'm never going to beat Valhalla. It's too long, so I don't care. The teleportation thing just makes absolutely no sense to me. First off, You don't need the teleportation thing to pull off this triple kill thing they've added. What you can do, instead of teleporting, you have to force the player into a position where they can assassinate the first target, okay? So you can see him on the balcony. Why can't we just parkour over to the top where he is standing, over the top of him, air assassinate him, and then have 2 throwing knives that insta-kill the enemies, okay? Yes, it won't look as flashy, but at least it looks somewhat realistic, which is exactly what they've been going for. But the teleportation thing just took me right out of it. It makes no sense to have it. I don't know why it's here. And secondly, well, lastly anyway, the teleportation thing might not be the only god thing they've added in. They're gonna have some surprises for us, okay? They're gonna have some surprises. It's just the way it works. So I'm a little worried about the combat. The combat, it just hasn't been shown. They're clearly not very confident in the combat at all. You get a quick parry and then you get a quick insta-kill move, and that is all you get to see. And I imagine that's all we're going to see up until release. Combat systems, they've been fine in Assassin's Creed games. I don't personally like the Kenway Saga combat systems. I thought they were too easy, it was too bare bones. But here, it looks like they're going back to roots, but I'm very, very worried that they're going to have some sort of god system in where you can triple teleport, kill people in the middle of combat or something. And that may not happen. I may be just worried about something that doesn't exist. But at the same time, if they're doing stealth like that, they're going to add some combat stuff to make you feel cool and godly and stuff. And I don't want that. I don't want that at all. But what do you think? What do you think about the god stuff? I hate it. I don't think it belongs in Assassin's Creed. The time for god stuff has passed, okay? They tried it with Assassin's Creed 3. They had some of it in the Ezio trilogy, but it made some sense for the lore and the building of Assassin's Creed's worlds. But it's just gone too far. It has just gone too far. The god stuff was the first civilization. That was the foundation of it. They made it make sense because history. That is Assassin's Creed. It's all about history. You know what I mean? Sure, made up history, but it's history, and that was why the first civilization thematically worked with Assassin's Creed. But now it's just gone into god stuff. You got fucking Poseidon and everything. I don't want that. Get rid of it. Make a new IP if you want that. And the last thing is the open world, okay? We got a very, very small glimpse of it, but it looks really promising. Are we going to be doing the Ubisoft stuff? Yes. We're probably going to be taking out tons of bases. It's going to be repetitive, but the world itself looks visually beautiful, man. I've seen some people complain about the graphics with character models and stuff like that, and that's understandable. This is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but for what we can see here, it looks really good, and I'm very happy with it. I just want to see what they do with the world itself, what you can do in it, how you can interact with it, and we got a glimpse of that, but I need to see more for that stuff. But then again, I don't want to see more. I want to play the game now. I'm done. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. And stick around, actually. Stick around. It'll either be today or later tomorrow. I'm going to have a GTA 5 extended kind of review out, talking about the enemy variety, and I think that'll be a really interesting video to get your thoughts on. Cheerio. Go eat some food. Go enjoy the sun if you're in the UK. And yeah, stay safe, stay well, and live life.